Heads up, friends. The unofficial Shopify podcast is made by indie entrepreneurs for indie entrepreneurs and may contain material not suitable for all audiences, like swearing or economics. Listener discretion is advised. In the world of e-commerce, it is high time we shift focus. It's not just about chasing revenue anymore. In the face of escalating ad costs and slim margins, your real profit is the game changer. That's the name of the game for 2024, profit. That's where Store Hero shines. By seamlessly integrating your sales, marketing, and cost data, Store Hero unveils the true picture of profitability, even down to a single order's contribution margin. Scaling your ad spend will become a confident, data-driven decision propelled by clear, actionable insights from a platform that values profit over revenue. Ready to redefine e-commerce success? Visit storehero.ai and explore a platform tailored for the profit-centric brand. And here's a sweet deal. Schedule a demo and mention the unofficial Shopify podcast for an exclusive offer, a free profitability audit for 2024. That's storehero.ai. Back again on the unofficial Shopify podcast. We're going to talk about Black Friday a second time, but this time we're going to dive deep into specifics. We're going to do a case study of sorts. Sean Reyes of Shock Surplus, who was on a few weeks ago to tell us about their success growing their dropshipping store to 30 million on Shopify Plus, is going to break down their Black Friday. We're going to talk through a real life example here and see what we can unpack. I'm your host, Kurt Elster.
Check nasty.
And as you already know, this is the unofficial Shopify podcast. Sean, thank you for doing this a second time. How did I trick you into doing this twice so quickly?
You know, I love getting into the nerdy details. You know, on these podcasts, you know, there's a lot of just generalities. And as a longtime listener of podcasts, I'm like, where the F are the freaking specifics? So,
okay.
You know, being where we're at, I just would love to, you know, if you guys want specifics, I'd love to give them.
All right. Well, then let's start easy. How did Black Friday go? How was your Black Friday?
Before I get into how it goes, I'll back up a second and say that we were usually never, ever the promotional people. We were never the promotional company. We figured that during Black Friday, conversion rates would always just usually double or triple. And so why not just reap the benefits of that? But over the past couple of years, we got into more of a promotional strategy, mainly because, you know, people like Nick Sharma, kind of his voice would always be like, if you're not promoting, you're really just not in the game. And, you know, so we always reap the benefits of just better conversion rates. But over the past couple of years, we put a little bit more thought to the promotional strategy, especially around Black Friday and some of these bigger holidays. So last year we put a little.
So what we're hearing in the past, you half-assed it.
Yep,
maybe
much.
Intentionally or like unknowingly. Yeah. And then this year you said, okay, what if we go full in on Black Friday, run the promos, you know, do the thing that they're expecting. And I'm thrilled you mentioned Nick Sharma. I just booked him. He will be a guest on the show.
Nice.
In the next,
I really like
60 days.
Yeah, I really like the stuff that he's kind of putting out. But it's, you know, some of it's new, some of it's just kind of been around in the e-commerce space. But so last year we did kind of a site-wide promotion, just a blanket discount on everything, and that worked okay. But this year we really started back in September, thinking about campaigns, thinking about getting those campaigns designed, thinking about all the things like leading up that you know usually takes a while. And you know, if you're using an email agency or any kind of marketing team, they want to know ahead of time so they could develop the flows, develop the campaigns and whatnot. So this Black Friday we did 40% better than we did last Black Friday. And we had our first $1 million week. The basically Monday to Monday was just huge for us. So big success. I had a lot of anxiety leading up to it because of all the work we did, wondering if the juice was going to be worth the squeeze. All this work, was it really going to be worth it? And I think we kind of answered that confidently that yes, it is worth all the work put behind it.
And was this your first $1 million week?
It was, yeah. Yes, it was. It was quite surprising for us, for me as well. We knew there'd be some lift, just because the year has been up about 15-20% over 2022. So we were kind of expecting maybe around the same thing, but seeing a 40% bump over the previous year was incredible for us. Yeah.
Yeah, 40%. Whew. And $1 million in a week. I'll take it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So you said that surprised you. I mean, obviously you knew
And
like
our most profitable. When we talk top line, everyone always wonders like, well, how are the margins, right? You can give away the farm and not make any money, but it was also our most profitable Black Friday as well in terms of gross profit margin. So as a percentage of the sales. So that's another big win for us.
Well, wait, why do you think it was more profitable?
Just because the amount of total discounts that we gave out versus top line, mixed with the ad spend, that still we came out way further ahead of the previous Black Friday for sure. Because previous Black Friday we gave away a 5% site-wide discount, and sometimes that's this year only ended up being about 4.5. So we squeaked out a little bit of ahead, but in terms of the amount of discounts given away, the ad spend to get those customers, the acquisition cost, compared to top line revenue, it was about 4.5%. Whereas previously it was closer to 8.
This is crazy to me because I'm not getting out of bed for less than a 15% discount, right? How? Yeah. What were these promos and offers that people were like 4.5%? Take my money.
Well, we did some, so previous, the whole idea of, do you give a flat dollar amount or do you give a percentage amount? Usually flat dollar amount looks bigger to the buyer. And there's always that hypothesis. It depends on your industry, depends on your product. Our AOV is typically $550. So 5% of that, you're looking at about $25, $27. And so we tested back in September during the Labor Day sale, whether people were more attracted to a 5% offer or a $20 or $25 offer. And naturally, people are way more attracted to the $20 offer. Our $20 offer is double what we usually give our customer on a kind of an email sign up for $10. So to them, they were like, oh, wow, this is double what they usually are offering. So for them, it was like double the discount, even though in retail, a 5% discount is it's like a joke.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, well, let's try the flat dollar amount because it actually is more attractive to the buyer and it's actually a win for us. And so I'm sure some of our customers are listening right now. They think maybe they got, but business wise, it works much better for us where our AOV is really, really high.
And so what were the promos and offers? This sounds like tiered discount.
Yep. So we had tiered discounts really trying to incentivize, because we have a lot of customers and a big audience of people that 3 months, 6 months, 2 years sometimes on these windows of people waiting to buy a $1,000, $2,000 or $3,000 item. And so we have a tiered discount where the first tier is $500 to $1,000, and then $1,000 to $2,000, and then $2,000 and up were the 3 different tiered discounts. And the first tier was $50 off, second tier was $100 off, third tier was $250 off. So we were really trying to capture the market share of people at that very, very high end that I know everyone is kind of waiting to make their big purchase of the year on their vehicle. So, we hear from these customers all the time, especially 6 months leading up to it, that they're waiting. The economy, what's the economy going to do? All these kind of things that are in the customer's mind. And so we really try to incentivize everything above our AOV and really, went that from that perspective. And we really didn't discount much at all below our AOV because margins are a little bit tighter, and we generally, don't really, we're not trying to attract the Amazon price shopper to our business.
And so a typical purchase for you would be something like coilovers. Like, hey, I want to replace shocks and springs on my vehicle. I want that adjustability or that tighter ride. And what's a coilover kit typically cost? Just to give some frame of reference here.
Yeah, so on a popular truck like a Tacoma or F-150 or a Silverado, I'm sure a bunch of listeners have one of those three vehicles. A coilover kit and rear shocks are in the $1,000 to $1,500 range on the kind of middle of the road, and then we have like high performance versions, the $2,000 and $3,000 kind of range. So pretty big, really big purchases. The other thing that really worked for us is letting this seems so obvious, I know, but maybe not, letting the customer know that you are going to do a sale. That was something we previously didn't do either.
You don't say.
Yeah, a sale, well, people expected during Black Friday, but, we didn't. When we were on the other side of things, not wanting to discount, we're like, well, we'll throw a sale and everyone should be happy that they got one. Right. It's a little bit arrogant, but nowadays it's like you're competing. The retail is a war, right? So you're trying to get all the attention that you can. So you really started ahead of time, maybe not even early enough, but at the beginning of November, we started sending out campaigns and letting people know with a top running banner in the email that, hey, there is a Black Friday coming up. These are the dates. Read our blog post so you're prepared. So that was another thing that worked pretty well for us.
So you mentioned, actually, you know what I want to know? How'd you set up your homepage? Like, when you're sending people to the site for the promotion, it sounds like tiered discount. What's that homepage look like? And then are we using landing pages?
Yeah, so the homepage, that was one thing we kind of, I would say, dropped the ball on. We didn't have our homepage is very much not product focused. It's a hero banner with lifestyle image. And I think the way we've built our business is very much not, it's not really product focused. And it's kind of been that way for the past few years where we really focus on the lifestyle. So our homepage has always been like lifestyle imagery, blog posts on learning, and some of our kind of other just lifestyle stuff we do as a business. And so the homepage, we didn't really change it up really at all to kind of show a Black Friday sale going on or show a popular item or whatnot. Because one of the things we really kind of pay attention to is like, you might have a sale on this vehicle or this vehicle's item, but it doesn't matter to all the other customers that have a different vehicle, right? So popular products, most recommended product sometimes it didn't really work well for us. And so our first thing is get into the vehicle finder, land on your category page. And there is where we would show, different sale items or the blog post about, what the details are. A lot of our ads were delivering to the blog post of outlining the Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals. So people will land on the blog post, see the immediate discount codes, and understand how it worked for them at that point.
I can't believe you put your landing page was a blog article.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was all the pre kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then during the sale of those, call it 5 or 6 days, it was a lot of going to the category pages of different brands. So our Bill Stein search campaigns, all of those delivered to the Bill Stein category page. Fox delivered to all the category page, because that way, choose your vehicle, and then your results would get squashed down to what was applicable to your application.
And then for people's reference, how many products or SKUs in this catalog so they understand the issue that this aftermarket automotive dropshipping faces?
Yeah, we've got over 100,000 SKUs on our site. There's some catalogs out there that with over 2 million. And so, showing exactly what fits the customer's vehicle is like the first step in the user experience. And so I really kind of keep that in mind when I deliver a user to our site, get them immediately into their vehicle so they understand what's available, the price tiers, and guaranteed fitment is one of the biggest trust building factors for us. And so I really think about that as a core principle rather than delivering them to like an item that might not fit their vehicle. It might be on sale, but once again, if it doesn't fit their vehicle, then they're kind of let down and they'll bounce.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough one where it's like, all right, I want to spend, $1,200 on this item, but, I don't need it. And so if I'm not like, my life is not going to change if I, slam my 79 Volkswagen Beetle. I really want to, right? But for $1,200, I better be real sure those parts are going to fit my car.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I have not pulled the trigger. My vehicle, it rides too high. But okay, focus, Kurt. The holidays are here.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
First comes Halloween, then Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Boxing Day, New Year's, and great Scott, how will we ever keep up? Easy. Use Zipify Pages. Zipify Pages. It's a landing page builder created by the founder of a $180 million Shopify store. It has everything you need to launch your next promotion more quickly and for a lot more profit. With their library of proven templates, you could build a high-performing holiday funnel in just a few clicks, from Black Friday to New Year's and everything in between. And because every template is tested first on their 9-figure Shopify store, you know they actually work. Plus, you can use Zipify Pages to optimize your product pages, blog pages, and even your homepage, so your store's ready to convert more of that holiday traffic. So if you want to have your most profitable and stress-free holiday season ever, then go to zipify.com/Kurt. That's zipify.com/KURT to start your 14-day free trial today. And to get an unadvertised gift, email help@zipify.com and ask for the holiday bonus. Tiered discount is one of my favorites. You're a fan of tiered discount. How do you determine the tiers? How do you figure out what those thresholds in the discount strategy should be?
The tiers are a little, I want to say obvious, but you have your factory replacement stuff, 0 to 500 on most of our kind of truck vehicles. 500 to 1500 is very much that entry level kind of performance kind of setup. And then beyond that is all high level, high performance, spend a lot of money. These people typically don't really have a budget. They just want the best for their vehicle. And so we kind of have understood this for, a long time. And so building the discounts, we kind of have that very much in mind. We also have done I don't even know what you want to call it, but you lay out the different price levels in a sheet, and you apply when you apply the discounts, it kind of, a $50 discount at $999 is we'll call it 5%, but down at $501, it's a little bit more. So as you get higher in the tier, that flat discount gets kind of smaller, if that makes sense, as a percentage. And so when you cross the threshold into the next tier, that $100 discount, call it $1,001, is now 10% of that price of that item, of that $1,001 item. And so you're in retail where you're like good, better, best. It's kind of that same situation where you're trying to get people to step up to the next tier, something that they wouldn't have really thought about. They were shopping an $800 item, they were shopping a $900 item, but to get them into $1,100 item, a $1,200 item, you give them a really big fat discount to like move them up. And so that happens, $800, the $800 to $1,200 kind of tier, that happens a lot in that space. And then when you get to an item that's $1,500, $1,700, to get them into that next level of $2,100, $2,500, you give them another fat discount. So that like just crossing that threshold, they're saving a lot more as a percentage of their total purchase. So we really thought about that, mainly because we know the customer extremely well. We know that's behind their thoughts and kind of their budget concerns. And so for us, that's how it kind of worked out for us.
Now in Shopify, I could rattle off 6 ways you could implement that discount system. And they all have their pros and cons and just based on different limitations. How did you implement your discount strategies in Shopify?
We did it through manual codes, which I not a fan of because people forget the codes. People have to go back to the landing page to remember the codes. And so,
or worse, they place the order and then they email you, hey, I forgot to put the discount. And now you got to deal with like, all right, well, we'll give you a partial refund. And
yep. Yeah, so we were backing up a little bit, with Shopify. We're on Shopify Plus. We wanted to get to checkout extensibility and start testing a one-page checkout. But by the time we were kind of in that space to do it, it was already late September, early October, and just a bad time to make that kind of changeover, even though everyone said it's simple, whatnot. The reason why I'm talking about checkout extensibility is because you could run, once you switched over to that, you can run numerous automatic discounts. Whereas by default, Shopify only lets you run one automatic discount. So that wasn't really going to work for us on Black Friday. So we had to resort to just custom discount codes. So we had the custom discount codes on the blog post. We had all the codes popping up on live chat. So if someone was on a product that said Bilstein on it, live chat would pop up and be like, here's your discount code. Check out the details here if you want to know more. And so all those different, we try to like spread the touch points out all over the place. I think one thing I definitely learned for next time is getting the discount code on the product page itself through like a meta field, maybe below the picture or next to the add to cart, or we'll figure out a way to make it better so that the customer isn't hunting for it like they kind of had to.
On Amazon, they've got that like checkbox where they go like, oh, you can. Essentially, it's coupon clipping. It's like, click here and add this offer, and it's like 10% off. And of course, you're going to do it. But if you don't, they don't apply it. I would love to do that on Shopify.
That's such a good point. I mean, we saw a lot. We were like surprised how many orders came through that were eligible for discount codes and did not use them, which really says just a ton about consumer psychology because they see the blue banner on top saying Black Friday and Cyber Monday, maybe discounts are live or pricing is in effect or our sale is happening. And so they maybe automatically think that the price that they see has the discount already built into it.
I think you might have, I don't know the details of the tiered discount itself. I think you might have been able to do this with line items and script editor. That's going away though.
Okay.
And I think with automatic discounts, you could do product discount based. It's like this collection of products gets X% off, minimum this price. And then you say combines with product discount. And then if there's more than one, it applies the higher of the two. And so for doing tiered threshold, I think you could do it with automatic discount. I'm sure there's limitations and weirdness. Like every discount method has some limitation to it, and that's how we did it on a different site.
Gotcha. This is one of where we kind of we learned some things on ours because we had an automatic discount tier in the 300 to 500 for certain items. And so when people were adding those items to their cart, they would have the discount applied. But then if they cross into the $500 to $1,000 threshold, they weren't able to apply the manual discount code. So we had a little bit of a fallout there.
Okay. Yeah. See, there's always something.
Yep. Yeah. So we had a little bit of fallout there, not that much, but definitely learned a lesson there.
And what was the impact on average order value? Positive or negative?
Definitely positive. Our usual AOV is about $550 during the year. It's gone up to $570 now, but $550 is what we've been working with as, that's what's been in my brain as a baseline for our just store in general. During the sale period, it was up at $770 for basically all of November, not even Black Fridays, especially that kind of dragged it up quite a bit. But yeah, $770 it's a huge increase. And that was a 20% increase over last year's AOV. So last year's AOV was still pretty good. I think it was like 650 or 680. So top line went up 40%, but AOV also went up about 20%. So we didn't just pump more of the kind of low margin stuff.
Often on Black Friday, sometimes you see like a big influx of people just because of all the promotion and conversion rate goes down. Other times you see, hey, we saw there were all these people waiting for a great offer and now it's here. And, it's like I was deferring this, I was going to buy a supercharger and I deferred that for 8 months. And now's the time. Yeah. Like I'm not going to do better than this. And conversion rate goes up because you have enough of those people and the hype. Did you see conversion rate up or down?
Conversion rate for us was definitely up over, the trailing 6 months. Remarkably, though, it was down over last year. We discussed, I think we discussed this on the last podcast, but our reskinning of the site to the new theme last October, that kind of skewed the results a little bit. Conversion rate for us was down this year during the sale period. Kind of surprising there, but up for us compared to this year. That makes sense. So down versus last year, up versus this year. Yeah, and
I wouldn't, as long as revenue is up and AOV is up, everything, all the revenue metrics point up. I wouldn't get too caught up in conversion rate. Conversion rate it's so dependent on other factors that it's one of those metrics that's like you love to see it go up, but also take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because we had I think our Facebook traffic versus last year was up 250%. So we had a lot more we didn't have a lot. I'd say we had a lot more middle of funnel stuff happening, a lot more remarketing this year. We had a much bigger funnel kind of already built up on the brand from more top of funnel ads over from the prior 6 months. And so, I think that helped out a lot as well.
And in the last episode at the end, you mentioned Cartbot. You said, man, check out Cartbot if you want to do free gift with purchase. I love free gift with purchase. And we've had the most reliability using Rebuy to do it, but Rebuy, it's a complex app. And so not like super beginner friendly. And that's a good thing because it could do so much. The app we had been using, which I won't name, I think it struggled with the amount of traffic on Black Friday. So this like previously very reliable app suddenly was not adding to as many carts as it should have, which was upsetting. And so then it's like, all right. And you had just told me about Cartbot. I'm like, next year I'm going to try that one. So did you do free gift with purchase?
We did not do that. We have we don't, mainly because we ran out of hats. Otherwise we would have.
Is that what it usually is? You get like the cool embroidered shock surplus hat?
Pretty much, yeah. Our merchandising game this year has been pretty weak. We're fixing that next year. But we've been using Cartbot to battle, to minimum advertised pricing. The brand says that this has to sell for $1,000. We all have to sell for $1,000. And so how do we add more value to that purchase that that customer may not see elsewhere, whether buying it directly from a brand or another retailer? And so we use Cartbot to be like, here's an extra $200 in value if you buy from us. Because we know the economics of that purchase. We know they come back and redeem that $200 of value. They are going to gain another $800 in top line and $400 in profit. So giving them that $200 up front is still $200 more profitable for us. And so we've kind of, Cartbot is doing that for us and through the sale period rather than delivering them a free gift with purchase, which we want to do, but you gotta have gifts first.
Crowdfunding campaigns are great. You can add social proof and urgency to your product pre-orders while reducing risk of failure. But with traditional crowdfunding platforms, you're paying high fees and giving away control, all while your campaign is lost in a sea of similar offers. It can be frustrating. That's why we built Crowdfunder, the Shopify app that turns your Shopify product pages into your own independent crowdfunding campaigns. We originally created Crowdfunder for our private clients, and it was so successful, we turned it into an app that anyone can use. Today, merchants using Crowdfunder have raised millions collectively. With Crowdfunder, you'll enjoy real-time tracking, full campaign control, and direct customer engagement. And it's part of the Built for Shopify program, so you know it's easy to use. So say goodbye to high fees and hello to successful store-based crowdfunding. Start your free trial and transform your Shopify store into a pre-order powerhouse today. Search Crowdfunder in the Shopify App Store to get started. The other thing we noticed this year is the clients where the really successful, sophisticated people that we know are running promos no matter what, some of them were down year over year on Black Friday. And consistently, in a majority of them, it was because they had just been running early bird sales more aggressively this year than in the past. And so then once you did all right, let's look at the last 60 days, then you see the real result versus, just looking at that very brief, week or less long window of Black Friday. Did you do any early bird sales? When did discount season start for you?
We did do an early bird sale, mainly because we have a very specialized item that the map of that item is $800, but it's kind of hard for the customer. They can't self-install it themselves most of the time, and so we take that $800 item, we make it easy for the customer, do some value adds on it, and sell it for $1,000. We've been doing this for about 2 or 3 years now, and competition has caught on. And we know this is a very hot item just in the industry and the category as a whole. So we looked in.
I'm dying to know what the item is, or even category.
Yeah, it's a Bilstein. It's called the Bilstein 6112, and it's a very beefy shock it comes with its own springs, but it doesn't come fully assembled like a coilover does, right? And so it's just springs and the shock, but the shock is it's extremely undervalued in the market. Other competition are priced at $1,000 for the same item, and Bilstein is priced at $800 or $750. And so extremely good product. And so it's already attractive for that. And then we make it even more attractive by making it easier to install. So what we did and what we've been doing, I hate to give this away, but basically all year we've been cornering certain applications. We buy out the country of them. And so we're the only ones with those items. And so now rather than selling
That's
it at
diabolical. It's some serious inventory forecasting.
Yeah, because we know that we have extremely accurate 30-day demands, not even for ourselves, but just for the country as a whole. And so we look at that in September, October, and in November, we just buying up all that product. And so our early bird sale was like, hey, we've got this in stock and we're giving you a deal on it. And so, we were kind of already known in the space to being one of the people assembling these products. And so just that brand awareness helped out a lot. And then the discount on top really helped us move all the kind of inventory that we had piled up.
Those springs on a car, when they're loaded, I mean, you could kill somebody with those things.
Yeah.
That's why this is so. It's like, you have to assemble it. Not as easy as that might sound.
Yeah. Google coil spring compressor memes. There's a lot of ridiculous stuff out there.
Yeah, mechanics as soon as they see that spring compressor, they treat that like a loaded gun. That's just because everybody has that story. At least if you're in a shop. What was customer response to that early bird sale compared to the main Black Friday event?
Yeah, I was happy with it, and we kind of did what we predicted. But in terms of the Black Friday sale being way ahead of expectations, the pre early bird sale was kind of met expectations, if that makes sense. But we did start that, so that helped out kind of flatten. What we were really trying to do is flatten the curve and get the early attention there, because I know that a lot of other stores, a lot of other places were going to be doing, frankly, bigger discounts than us. And so by securing the product, not allowing all the competition to sell it, It was kind of like, it was one of those things where like, I know that was more of a play to secure the sales and limit competition rather than like blow expectations out of the water with big numbers, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I think the early bird sales never have the dramatic numbers when you're like in it looking at it. But then after, in December, when you go back and look, you realize like, oh, in total, that really had quite the impact. Even if we're robbing Black Friday a little bit to sell earlier. But Black Friday, essentially, I mean, there's people deferring purchases as soon as September, waiting for Black Friday. So I think you're spreading it out. I'm a fan of just, hey, increase that frequency, those impressions, that opportunity for yourself. And when you have a genuinely valuable offer like you did for the right person, then it's just great for everybody.
And we have there's actual manpower that goes into these items as well. So we were really trying to
somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, we were actually really trying to flatten this curve so that we didn't have like 400 assemblies that we needed to get done during the Black Friday and post Black Friday week. We wanted to like literally spread that whole workload and all those man hours over 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, rather than just in that week period. And because eventually you let customers down, right? Which we really didn't want to do.
And then I want to switch gears. I want to talk about email campaigns. Surely email was like a huge part of this success.
Attribution, right? And Klaviyo is obviously going to claim tons of attribution. For us, anything that does attribution reporting that's third party is going to be like, hey, we think that person thought about us. That's our revenue. You're welcome. What's funny is like our Klaviyo dashboard, average click rate and place order rate is only fair. It's only the yellow, the yellow. There's excellent, fair, and good.
Yeah, they give you like they help you benchmark it, but it's like, what are you benchmarking me against? Everything. Klaviyo always says I'm slacking.
Yeah, exactly. And so our click-through rate has always been fair, and our place order rate has always been like fair or bad. But like you said, it's conversion rates are only part of the story. It's really revenue per recipient or revenue per customer. If you can maximize that, then some of these other metrics are very secondary. And so we use Flowium. They've been great for us, and they were really on top of things. We usually deliver 4 to 6 campaigns a month. Black Friday, we opted for the 12 campaigns, and I think that really played a big part. I think we talked about this on the last podcast, where email's been around so long, people really don't think it really does much with your building a list and all of that. It's almost the oldest form of funnel for e-commerce. But I think it's one of the ones that work the best still. And so we had for November in general, we climbed up. So we were usually trailing at about 23-24% of revenue through email. For November, we did 32.5% of revenue through email. So a 7% bump during the Black Friday or during November in general. And for email in general, just under $1 million in email revenue for November, compared to a 2.9 top line. So yeah, that's kind of our performance there.
How many emails went out versus like what would you normally do?
Usually do 6 emails. We did 15 emails if we include, 12 emails, 3 SMS. And that's another thing. SMS, we've been slacking. SMS has been just really big, but we haven't got our SMS kind of thing humming as well as our email campaign. So 12 campaigns basically for all of November.
12 campaigns, and we send some SMS. Yeah, SMS is interesting. They're resistant to it. You got to pay by the send. It feels like a little different and invasive, even though at this point, like, our inboxes are just a free for all. But with SMS, I think it's just so easy to overthink because, I mean, you're capped out at like less than tweet length. You really can't distill an email down to just a tweet's worth of text. Hey, sales like Black Friday starts now. Shop Shock Surplus link. Not too tough. But a lot of people are like, I gotta pay to send it. Skip it. It worked out for you?
SMS was 3% of $950,000 of Klaviyo attributed revenue. That makes sense. So revenue per recipient was 75 cents. Campaigns themselves did 360,000. Flows did 560,000, which is surprising. So our flows
surprised by flows outperform campaigns.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, we've done all I've been building is like segmented flows for brands, vehicles, just those two really over the past couple of years, because language in this industry is very much, are you a truck guy? Are you a Toyota guy? Are you a car guy?
Yeah, it's so locked into like the brand and the category, even though it's all fundamentally the same thing. You are engaged in motorsports involving 2 to 4 wheels, right? Like there should be so much overlap there, but they're like, you're into Honda Civics, I'm into trucks. We are not friends and we know nothing about each other. Don't talk to me about that. Like insane. But you want, at the same time, I get it. You want what's relevant to you. And this is just really niched down. It'd be like going to a jazz person and trying to sell them Jay-Z tickets. It's like, it's not the same.
Yeah, our whole ethos has been around user experience, and the farmer in the Midwest doesn't care about Baja racing, doesn't care about West Coast Toyotas, and doesn't care about a commuter on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles.
I'm interested in all of those things, and the farming too. Why not?
Yeah, those guys are great because you get them once, and then then you have another 4 or 5 purchase for their other vehicles, and so we really think about those acquisitions as well.
All right, what I want to know now, having seen this success when you like really focused and you did this first $1 million week, best ever Black Friday, what are you going to do differently next year?
So next year, we're going to hopefully have all these automatic discounts in place, or at least the ability to do them. We'll make it very obvious on the product detail page that either this is the discount code to use, or B, make it automatically applied in the cart. Put the languaging there that it is going to be automatically applied in the cart right next to the add to cart. Some of these technical requirements, our team is pretty small, and so it was hard to kind of execute all of the big wish list. But knowing what we know now, knowing all the discounts that were missed, knowing kind of the I would say we didn't really see too much of a. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the ads a cart wasn't like that much bigger. So I think a lot of people really thought that they'd see these people have been shopping for a month or two, seeing one price, and then when they come here for Black Friday, they still see the same price and maybe didn't understand that you had to apply the discount. So we didn't really see a big add to cart boost like I was kind of expecting. But the increase in conversion rate, made up for that. So more automatic discounts. I think a little bit bigger of a heads up, or more specific messaging to those buyers. Because if you're shopping, this is my kind of idea, but if you're shopping at a store and you understand like everything's on discount, you still might not understand that the item you've been shopping gets $100 off or gets $150 off. And so, if you've been shopping a certain item, you get a remarketing campaign in Facebook or in Instagram being like Shock Surplus, here are the tiered discounts. It might still not connect that your item is going to receive $150 off. So I think next year we're going to do a lot more focused remarketing efforts to be like, iBox, you get $150 off, or for the iBox shopper. If you've been shopping this Bill Stein item, it's going to have $250 off, rather than just throwing everyone in the bucket of like, here are the discounts available. Go, we don't know what you were shopping. Yeah, we don't know what you were shopping specific. We do know you were shopping specifically, but we didn't have the campaigns to communicate that we understood the customer that deep, which I do and we do, but we didn't have all the deliverables kind of lined up with how I would usually like to do it. So we'll get an even bigger head start next year to make that happen as a big thing.
As our takeaway, because it sounds like, for you, Black Friday was preparation meets opportunity, and this was the year where you're like, we're really going to prepare for this. And you had that $1 million week, which is like the coolest ever.
Yeah.
What's the one key takeaway you want people to have from this episode? What's your advice for other Shopify merchants?
Really, I think really incentivizing above AOV, just because if you think about average order value, you already have so many people, your audience, so much of your audience is already like average, right? Those people are already going to convert. They're in a buying mood. So your average consumer, you're just going to get whether 100% more of them, 150% more of them, whatever your conversion rates are, right? So, keep that funnel intact. I would also probably advise, one thing I want to do is fill the funnel a lot more next year, because we know that the conversion rate of Facebook visitors is, call it 1%, right? And so that's, fill the average funnel a lot more, and then incentivize above AOV with really kind of thoughtful campaigns or discount structures to get people to really upgrade or really think about something that they would not have thought about before. So that's kind of a hybrid of how we've treated Black Friday in general. Whereas before it was like, well, I know if we just fill the funnel of average people or average consumers, we're going to see double the conversion rate, or we're just going to make a lot more money that way without having a discount. And so we kind of play the hybrid strategy of doing that with building a tier to get people to really upgrade and think about things that they wouldn't have thought about before. So everyone's ready to buy that $500 item. Maybe they're hoping for $450. But if you could get them to think about the luxury version at $750 through some kind of creativity or value, then like that's where I kind of like to play.
Fabulous advice, and clearly it has paid off. And I look forward to seeing what you do next year. Should be a good time. Sean Reyes, Shock Surplus, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me back. Hopefully we helped out some people.
Oh, for sure.
Cool.
The unofficial Shopify podcast is brought to you by Loop. Loop is a returns management platform that makes returns profitable and stress-free for you and your shoppers. Loop offers automated returns, exchanges, and store credit options to lower costs and increase revenue. Do you want to offer at-home pickup or boxless drop-offs? Need to lower return costs or increase repeat purchases? How about all of the above? That's what's possible with Loop. Loop delivers customized returns management solutions for Shopify merchants of all sizes, like Studs, Princess Polly, Code Epoxy, to turn returns into returning customers. Find out why thousands of Shopify merchants choose Loop to manage their returns at loopreturns.com. That's loopreturns.com.